Hey, this is Nathaniel with Growing Together. And if you really want to learn to level up your life, you should be listening to the Time to Shine Today podcast with my good friend, Scott Ferguson. Let's level up.
Time to Shine Today podcast, Varsity Squad. It's Scott Ferguson, and I have a 2.0 interview with someone who I consider a really good friend, a fellow coach that I immensely respect, a stoic, just the most sultry voice that you'll ever hear on the mic. I know he does some voiceover work, fantastic podcasting voice as well. He has a fantastic podcast, which will be in the show notes as well. But we really kind of talk, we really go deep on really manifestation and not overcomplicating things, how to kind of live with a beast within and be friends with the beast and don't let the beast leave you in a sense. And it kind of goes against a lot of the things that people talk about there, the practitioners, the gurus and stuff saying, get rid of the beast. So we need that beast for survival and thrival. That's my word for the day is thrival, but to thrive as well. So again, it's a 2.0 interview. I interviewed Nathaniel back in 2022, and we're here in probably February 2025. And just the new knowledge nuggets that I picked up, and just knows that I love aligning myself with people that always evolve. So without further ado, here's my really good friend, Nathaniel Brown from Growing Together. Let's level up. Time to Shine Today podcast, Varsity Squad. This is Scott Ferguson, and I have a 2.0 interview with, seriously, we might not look like brothers, but we kind of are with our, especially our coaching philosophies, our coming from a heart-centered place of service, where we want people to really live a life of options and not obligations. And I'm bringing back for a 2.0 interview my good friend Nathaniel Brown, as I like to affectionately call him, Natty Brown, he's like me. His superpower is curiosity. He's a curious leader with a love and learning and a passion for guiding others towards transformations that leave a lasting impact. His unique blend of logical frameworks, life experiences, and deep esoteric wisdom enables him to assist the clients to choose a life that aligns with their true purpose by implementing 3 pillars, which I'm going to be very brief, but he'll go deep a little bit later: mindset, leadership, and perseverance. Nathaniel is committed to doing the deep inner work that allows him to show up as his best self and help others do the same. His motto is simple: change your perspective, change your story, change your life. And that's why we align so well. Actually, he blessed me with kind of his hour of power coaching session one day. And I remember it like it was yesterday. There was a pool, there was ripples. He had me in this kind of really deep connection to myself. He clapped his hands, and then like everything was just like open for me. It was the weirdest, not the weirdest, it was the most beautiful thing. I gotta say that. So, Natty, thank you so much for coming on. Please introduce yourself to the Time to Shine Today podcast, Varsity Squad. But first, what superpower other than curiosity do you have that kind of no one knows about?
I am a really good overthinker.
And it's a good thing sometimes, man,
Yeah,
right?
I'm really good at overthinking. And the thing, the beauty of it is, like, I'm starting to look at all of these things that are idiosyncrasies as superpowers, because
Ooh,
they are. They
yeah.
intrinsically, everything, the value of everything is implicit, right?
Mm,
But you got to know what it looks like to be able to honor it in the form that it exists in. So I've learned to value things that other people would throw away, that would be literally considered trash, junk. It's like the science in junk DNA. Well, it's
yeah.
really junk DNA. There's some data there that needs to be mined. So there's always something in our environments that needs to be mined. There's always something intrinsic that we can find, some crystal, some jewel, some
Yeah.
nugget. Well, all of it are superpowers. So I don't care if you're having battling addictions or anything like that. Well, the
Sure.
fact that you can be addicted to something is a superpower. The fact that something can capture
Sure.
you is a superpower. The
Yeah.
fact that you can find something of interest that would suck you into living a lifestyle that all that matters is that thing that's prioritized. Well, that's also a superpower. We have to
Yes.
see it that way, though.
Yes. Because you're locked into it, kind
That's
of
it.
not even knowing you're locked into it sometimes,
Absolutely.
right? Especially
100%.
like the addiction and
Yep.
stuff like that. So what the heck's been going on with you, brother, since
Oh,
last time?
man.
Well, it's
Life.
3 years since we
Yeah,
like
right.
connected like this on the pod, but what's been
When I
going
tell
on?
you, when I tell you life be lifing,
I
life be
love
life
it.
on some real talk. Like, life has given me an opportunity in the past 2 or 3 years to dive into the darkest parts of me that I had known was there, but was afraid to uncover. So
Okay.
back in 2021, I believe, somewhere between 21 and 22, I went to a men's retreat. And in the men's retreat, I was just hanging out with some young brothers. I probably was the oldest one there because I look younger than
Young
everybody.
bloods, young bucks,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. But I'm
Right.
usually like 10, 15 years older than everybody.
Right, right.
And so I'm sitting and we're having this really deep, deep experience. And one of the things that came out of this, it was this young guy that was sitting next to me. And these young kids, they're into anime and stuff like that, which I didn't
Sure.
watch much of. And which I believe, I love this stuff because it's based on Taoist principles. When you
Yes, it
actually,
is. Yes, it is.
so
Yeah.
it has some meaning. So it's the only cartoons I allow my son
Right.
to watch. But he was talking to me. He's like, "You ever watch Naruto?" I was like, "Well, I don't watch TV. Like, I don't even know what you're talking about. Like, I don't even watch TV." So he's like, "No, you need to watch it." He said, "It's about a boy who's been born into this village, but the village was being basically ravaged by this beast. So what the village elders did was they took the beast and they hid it inside the boy so
Oh,
that when the boy became of age, he would learn to befriend the beast, and the beast would be brought forth to be a protector and savior of the community. That's the word picture, right? So when he tells me this, I'm in tears because
wow.
there's this thing that I grew up with. I always knew that there was this animalistic nature in me
Yeah.
that was that ravenous beast, and I
Yeah.
knew it was there, and I did all I could to keep it at bay. Fast forward to 2023,
Yeah.
some things happened that caused that beast to be awakened.
Okay.
Something happened that triggered it. It was a trauma that I didn't deal with, that was connected to some experiences, that was connected to things that everything
Connected.
connected,
Yeah.
right?
Right. Right.
Holy crap, I'm here and the beast is awakened and he's ready to shred.
Yeah.
I had to look at it and I had to take the next year, full year, and go all the way to the basement of Nathaniel to befriend that beast again, to show the beast that, hey, let's see the open world and you're safe here. There's no danger really. It's all perceived. It's like watching the dog whisperer. He's my favorite person to watch because I learned how to talk to animals watching him.
Right.
Because
Right.
he's what animals do is they teach us about our animalistic nature.
Yes.
The
Because
animalistic
we
nature,
move so far away from it through
you move away from
generations.
those primal
Yes.
things, but there's so
Yes.
much wisdom in it because
Right.
what animals don't care about, they don't have a at me disposition.
Right.
It's not there. It's only in short bursts of time, right?
Yeah.
Because it was being chased by a lion, it's going to be stressed for a moment and it's going to run because something is happening.
Sure.
It's not an implied victimized mindset. They're not
Right.
always victimized. So it's in their bodies because their bodies determine their environment, right? So all the stuff that was happening around me, in me, of me, was in my environment, and I need to find out why it was there and how to remove it. That animalistic nature, I needed to befriend it. That's the only way to do it. That's the point of
Did you want
reconciliation.
to remove it or coexist?
I don't want to remove it.
Okay. Gotcha.
I
Okay.
want to befriend it. That's
Gotcha.
why that's why I'm saying befriend very specific. And I may have said something other, but what I
No,
want to
no,
say,
no.
yeah,
I'm
yeah, no.
super curious right now.
Okay,
This is
good, good, yeah.
awesome.
No, here's why you don't remove it. If you remove it, did you the value of what you removed?
Yeah.
It's like a cracked brick between two places. Removing the brick, yeah, that could cause more problems than repairing it where it is. The idea is you don't take the thing out because it's upholding something. There's a substructure
I
there
love this,
that's
dude.
sitting on top
Yeah.
of. We're doing
Yes.
we're dealing with this in the IT world right now. Everybody moving from IPv4 to IPv6. In other words, the base for supporting a bigger network, you need a bigger subnet, right?
Right.
That's the idea because we need more room because we're expanding. It's
Right.
beautiful. We're expanding.
Right.
But the base has to be there. So those negative things, those dark things, they have to be there. The support system for all of our emotional expression is fear and anger and all of those primal expressions because they are expressions of interest when you
Yes.
study them intrinsically. Fear is like fear and curiosity are like the first responses to anything that we're
Yeah.
uncertain, right? So when uncertainty shows up, we get a fear response, especially if it's something that we haven't interfaced with. Even if we've interfaced with it before, we can still be uncertain. But if we haven't interfaced with it intrinsically, we will be uncertain. We will have a fear response. Well, that fear response is going to be a central nervous system response. It's happening in your body. That's the primal state. That's the primal state that David talks about on this podcast. But that primal state is the animalistic world.
Sure.
That's the world that's always scanning the environment to make sure that everything is safe.
Right. You
I
need
would,
that. Have to have it.
we need it.
Yeah.
That's the ego. We
Yeah.
need it. We
Yeah.
need an at me disposition so that we know how to respond to risks. We need those things. So I was responding to everything as a risk when I was in that primal state, when I was in that space of heightened sense of rage that was flowing through my body.
Mm.
I had to look at that dark, beastly thing that I would label as that and love it.
Mm.
I had to love it because it was obviously there all along.
Right.
If I'm here, it was with me all along. So what part did it play in getting me here now? And how do I relieve it of service without condescending it of value?
Love it. Yeah.
That's the beauty of the inner work, is that
Sure.
you don't need to remove anything.
Right.
You just need to let go of the meaning that it has to you.
Yes.
The moment you let go of the meaning,
Yeah.
right? Marcus Aurelius' favorite quote. It's not the thing that's the external factor that's affecting you. It's one's estimate of the external factor, of which that thing you can revoke at any moment.
Right.
So it doesn't have to mean that it's dark and bad. It
Right.
could mean that it's strong and powerful.
And
So I
protecting
had
me.
to
Yeah.
redefine, right? Reframe, because everything works on frameworks, reframe how I was identifying with the things that are in myself. Is there really darkness? Well, no, because dark and light are actually the same thing.
Right.
It's just different spectrums of light. You just can't see. So obscurity is the problem. Not that something is dark intrinsically, but it's obscure. You don't understand it. You can't really see into it. Once you're able to see into it, don't remove it.
Right.
Appreciate it, love it, hug it, be grateful to it because it got you here.
Right.
Now you can relieve it of service because you don't need the service of this thing anymore. And it can now watch you move on.
Yeah. So it's almost witnessing yourself from yourself within yourself. It's funny. I know this. I know like the only movie franchise that I really think I've ever watched was the Avengers. Right.
Mm.
And so there's this dude, the Hulk. If the people that know the
Oh, I
Hulk,
love it.
he learned in the final movie ever how to coexist with the Hulk.
With the
Right.
Hulk.
So I kept on kind of going back to it with
Sure.
this, but like there's that beast inside. And I love that you said that it, don't remove it because there will be value in something that's being removed.
Yep.
Right. And people that try to remove it, and like we talked a little bit off mic about complicating things, especially kind of like service to others and
Yeah.
whatnot. And that beast is actually needed in certain situations in your life. And if
Right.
you don't have it there, it can be
Yeah.
detrimental to you, right?
Absolutely. Because you incur risks on
Right.
the negative side that you probably would have avoided
Yeah.
if you had just allowed that time for that assessment.
Right. Right. So are you working with people now, kind of working that might have their, well, I'm just going to call it beast because we have it like on a beast inside, or
Mhm.
there's a personality, and I'm saying that in quotes if you're
Right,
watching,
right, right.
kind of that you want to learn to have their coexist within yourself. Are you working with people like that right
I
now?
am. I
Okay.
actually sit with men every third Wednesday of the month. We have a men's circle.
Okay.
And I offer one-on-ones to these men if they need it. But we meet in a men's circle and I talk to them about befriending the beast within them. I
Love
talk
that.
to them about that thing because at the base of male emotion is an outrageous expression. It's the ultimate protector of us.
Yes.
That's what makes us the best protectors. That's
Sure.
why we're relied upon. I often say this, and people was like, "Well, we don't need men." The hell you do, because when you need a rule enforced, you're looking for a certain type of individual to enforce that rule.
Thank you. Yeah.
It's gonna be there. You're not looking for curves. You're looking for a frame. You're looking for a box. You're looking
Right.
for something that's rugged, rigid, and has sharp corners because sharp corners pierce. We've got to get truthful about that. So when we are and let me get back to your question.
Yeah.
But what we were talking about? I lost the thought. I lost the thought. Remind me what was the
The Well,
because I was going somewhere else and I lost the thought.
yeah. No, just the beast
The
within.
beast within. Yeah. So we were
Yes.
talking about
Yeah.
the men and the beast within, and I try to help them love it. I try to help them see it for not something they should be in any level of disdain about, because
Hmm.
society makes it so that men have to be subservient to these rules that say to be man is this.
Right.
And it's a bunch of people who aren't men trying to say what men should be. And it's ridiculous. It's like me going to the White House and saying, well, this is how you be president of the United States. And I've never sat as president of the United
Right.
States or on the board of
Or
any kind
any
of organization.
politics or
Right. Well,
anything,
I don't
right?
know what the hell I'm talking about. I would be a fool, right?
Ah,
Because with all you're getting, you get understanding. That's the ancient
sure.
proverb. So to understand what's going on within at the base of your emotions. And I actually met with him, especially after the holidays when all the stress and everything happens.
Sure.
I said, anybody have any bouts with rage this week, this holiday? Oh, hands going up, man.
Oh,
This thing,
yeah, yeah,
this thing.
yeah.
And it's not even that it's a bad thing.
Oh,
It's that we haven't been permitted to say what we're feeling.
right, right.
There's a guy online. His name is Kier Gaines. He's one of the social media therapists
Okay.
and mental health coach and everything. The guy's brilliant, but he tells a story of noise happening in the basement of his home. Only thing he knows to do to respond, he grabs his firearm, he goes to respond to the noise.
Yes.
He goes to do his thing. He finds out, okay, some wind blew open a window, started moving the blinds, the door, this, that, and the third, made a bad noise. Boom. Then he had a moment to sit down. And he says this. He said, both people in that house that night, him and his wife, were afraid. Only one of us had permission to feel it. And he said, what happens to a person over time when they are not permitted to feel human emotions?
Right.
And that's what became the beast in me. And that's what becomes the beast in us all, is that suppression, being feeling like we're caged in, always cornered by things, always
Right.
trapped by policies and
Sure.
politics and all this nonsense and
Right.
relationships and just everything that's coming at us, right?
Right.
And the only thing we know to do is to be callous,
Right.
all of us,
Those damn three-letter
agencies.
agencies that kind of direct us in ways that, whether it's FOX or CNN, or it's
Right,
like all
right,
those things, save the alphabet stuff for our doctors and
right,
stuff like that. So,
right.
okay, so I have to ask you, so let's say we have somebody that's a little bit more docile, like they're more like kind of grew up in a feminine. Not saying like a feminine like a woman,
Mhm.
but more of kind of a feminine where they didn't have a beast,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So they're kind of missing out on certain things as well. Can you, with your beliefs and coaching, Natty, can you basically create a beast in
Yeah. 'Cause
you?
all a beast is a sense of purpose.
Okay, gotcha.
That's
Okay,
all it is. It's something that compels you to do something, right? That's
gotcha.
typically nature. When you get hungry, something happens in your body. And if you pay attention to those sequences that are happening in your body, you can actually frame out belief. This is how it happens. When you get hungry, thirsty, anything, something in you already knows that there's an availability to remediate that. Right?
Right.
There's
Yeah.
something like I'm thirsty. So you say in yourself, I'm going to go to get a glass of water. Well,
Right.
how do you already know a glass of water exists
Right.
unless you don't already believe it? It's in your body. So your body is telling you you can get up and go and get what you believe,
Sure.
right? This is the personal
No, I love
development
this. No, I
movement.
love. Keep going, man.
Yeah, right. So
Oh,
so the central nervous system is the control mechanism for everything that you believe in your life. Everything. As the body of an animal determines its environment, the body of the human determines its environment. So all of the belief emanates from the body. You believe that water exists, you believe that food is available, you get up and you go get it because that's the convenience of that belief. Well, the idea is to create the belief that there's something for you to go and get, because the hunt is the bringing out of the beast. It's inconvenient to beasts of the field to go hunt, but they have the tools to get the job done.
right.
It's inconvenient for my house cat to go out there and kill a squirrel.
Right.
But if he was outside long enough and he was hungry and he saw a squirrel, his
He's gonna
claws
eat.
and his fangs
Yeah.
will do the job. So
Right.
my coaching helps you recognize the equipment you already possess so that you will create the compelling future that you already know you want.
Okay. So you already have the tools.
You don't have the tools
We're just bringing those tools to
to the
a
surface.
place of where usefulness when it needs to be used. Because some
Absolutely.
people might take this and they listen and be like, oh, I can just go unleash the beast and just be an asshole. Excuse my
No,
language here. You know what I'm
exactly.
saying?
It
You
has
know,
to be for the greatest good of yourself and others because the golden rule is implicit in all of this.
right.
Must
Right.
love yourself as you love others.
Yes. Golden
It's
rule.
not, it's a principle. It's not even an
Right.
ask. It's a principle. It's not even that you must, it's that you will only love others to the degree that you love yourself.
Yes.
It
Yes.
can't the only reason why people murder other people is because they're killing themselves. The
100%.
only,
Yes.
you can
There's something
find it
inside them that
in
they
the
want
way
to kill. They're too cowardly to kill themselves. So they take that
they express it,
beast,
project it.
thrust that, project it onto somebody else.
That's
Nice.
all it is. And everything is a
Yeah.
projection of an inner identity. And as soon as we get the inner identity fixed and recalibrated back to the heart space, then the way we love our neighbors will mirror the way we love ourselves. And the way we love ourselves will be to the highest good of us, and we will love others to the highest good of themselves. It's just it's a win-win cycle.
Right. What pushback are you finding when you kind of are maybe talking to
Oh,
people about this? Because again, like, okay, so my coaching clients, I require them to bring me on. Like the first thing they have to do is every day, Monday to Friday, send me three things they're grateful for. And then
mhm.
the next week I'll add their intention. Next week, your big win from yesterday. Next week. And they don't get it by about week four. They're like, dude, why am I doing this? And I'm like, hey, okay, Nathaniel, like you got a Tesla. I've never seen a Tesla,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So you're like, Fergie, I got a Tesla. And I'm like, oh, can I come see it? You're like, yes. I say, I see your emotion attached to it. I'm emotional. How many Teslas you think you're going to see when you drive home?
A
Right? We
bunch
bring
of
things to the present,
that's right.
right? So that's where I feel that maybe you're saying that the recalibration is really making them a lot more present
Right.
into an identity that is full of more maybe a heart space, right?
That's
Like,
that's the whole work.
right.
Scott, that is the work of everything is to bring everybody back to the present moment.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you.
Remembering now is all the work is all. I don't care what friend, I don't care how many coaching certifications you got. I don't
Exactly.
care how many
Yep.
psychological service. I don't care what your degrees are. You're all only learning to bring people back to the present
Right.
moment. That's all it is. It's all one thing. And when
Dude.
people understand that everything is literally one thing, I swear to you, I can explain technology and emotions at the same time, and you'd be like, "How the hell did you do that?"
I
Because it's
think you
all one thing.
actually did that at our last show, bro.
But check this out. In technology, we have something
Yeah.
called a SIEM tool, right? The SIEM tool is like a security event management tool. Basically, it's there to sit on the network to tell you what's going on.
Right.
It alerts you to say things are happening. It keeps those logs, and then you look at those logs to determine what is a priority risk and what is a low priority risk.
Right.
Well, doesn't your emotions work the same way? The emotions come online when something is unfamiliar to you and it triggers you and it gives you an alert. Hey, something's here. Now you have a decision because of that logarithm. That log there says, okay, there's a boulder coming at you. Your decision is there's a risk here. Let's admit what's the risk grade? Okay, you grade the risk. The
Right.
likelihood of impact is I'm going to get squashed. Okay, so what's
Right.
the remediation plan? Move the hell out of the way. It's the same thing.
Right.
Something happens in the network, someone sends something from a PC to another. It kind of triggers an alert because it's an internal thing that's going on. When you look at it on the packet system, on the packets, it's like, well, that's been hitting this particular computer a couple of times. There's something going on here. I
Something's
need
going
to
on there. There's a
investigate,
pattern.
right? So
Yeah.
what a SIEM tool does, just like the emotions, is that it indicates that something is in front of you. It doesn't tell you what's true. It
Right.
only tells you what's here.
Right.
You have to decide whether it's a threat or not. Same thing.
Yeah.
It's just technology. All the technology did was take something that you intrinsically already do and how you assess your network, your environment, and they turned it into a tool to assess digital assets. Same thing.
Same thing. It's exactly just doing it from a human side of thing. Exactly. I mean, this is some stoicism stuff here, man. This is amazing. I love this. I love this. So with okay, so I mean, a lot of this to some people out there might be deep, and it is, and understandably deep, but it's also so simple as
It's
well,
really simple.
right? But
Yeah.
like, what when you're talking, when you're coaching people again, because I want to refer people and get people
Yeah. Yeah.
with you, but
Yeah.
like, what are you doing to maybe make sure that they're not coming in overwhelmed and feel like things are being overcomplicated.
I
You know what I'm
build it
saying?
out. Yeah, yeah, because it can be really overwhelming. I keep it all in a framework modality. So there's 12 weeks,
Right.
literally. That's it. 12 weeks.
Love
You
it.
won't be the same person. I literally call it mastering manifestation. And what I do is I explain everything from an elementary standpoint. And I implicate the person as the entity causing it all.
Love it.
So I keep it really simple. Adjusting your frequency is as simple as changing the channel on the
Right.
television because all
Yes.
television broadcasts is just frequencies from
Thank
other
you.
broadcast systems.
Yes.
So you want to change something, changing the channel. What does it feel like when you're clicking the remote to change the channel, knowing that something else is coming? What's the feeling generating in the body? And can you amplify that? Because all these gurus and all they did was amplify things that were already happening in the body. Like I talked to you before, that thing about, hey, water is available, hey, food is available, what's happening in the body, that belief that's there, that something
Mm.
is, all we're going to do is we're going to take that, we're going to take a magnifying glass and look at it, and we're just going to make it bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And over the course of about 12 weeks, your belief system is going to change. Your belief system and your environment are the same thing. They are not different. If you put a dog, a cat, a bear, and a giraffe in any environment, and you leave them there for about 2.5 to 3 weeks, and you go back, you will be able to tell that a dog, a cat, a bear, and a giraffe were in these specific spots, and you'll be able to tell what the ratio of environment they control because they're territorial animals. So
Absolutely.
they're gonna manifest within their territory.
Right.
So you can tell what a cat believes or a dog believes it is based on the environment it lives in. A dog believes it's a dog, so it's going to poop and pee and dig holes
Right.
and it's
Right.
going to do all those
Right.
things. Cats believe they're cats, so it's going to dig a hole, do its business, cover it up. It's going to cover its tracks because that's what cats do.
Right.
Giraffes going to be giraffes, elephants, because the environment and the body are one thing. The word for beast of the field in Hebrew is behemah in the Hebrew text. And it literally means that the soul and the body are one thing. So it literally expresses itself as the body. So when you get belief in the body as an expression, and it becomes something that comes because your nervous system controls your beliefs,
Right.
it comes from the nervous system, then you can't help but have it in your environment because the nervous system is emanating it. The CIA did a study on this and they called it the neurocentergic field. They actually declassified this document several years ago. And they talk about how the brain frequency is such can be reconfigured or can be amped up in a way and align with the frequencies of the natural world so that it sends people into these states where they can create things whatever they want and it drops in their environment because they create this neurocentergic field around them. And the brain, what they're saying, they're saying the central nervous system because the
Sure.
brain is the computational controller for it all. The brain is emanating outwardly all the time the things that it wants to experience.
Yes. Always.
Put
Yes.
that in, then all we do is baptize you in the thing you want to experience.
Right.
And
But if
we
you're
do
not
that by
present, you're not going to
you're
put
not
any
going
of
to do
that to
it.
work.
We got to get you in the feeling body of
Yes.
it. We got to get that energy in the body again so that you can start believing in what you feel
Right.
you want to see that you become.
Love it. Yes. Yeah, and it's funny. I think I might have told you this before, but all my clients that I'm blessed to coach in South Florida in person, I put them in their car with me in there when I want to see what their car looks like. You make
Mhm.
sure that they're organized, see which way
Yeah.
you kind of go. But I point out that rearview mirror, like it's small for a reason. It's your past, great place to learn from, great place to visit for good times. But we're not there. The windshield, big, scary. Oh my gosh, what? And then like this GPS thing here,
Yeah.
that's where I am,
Yeah.
right?
That's my coach.
I
Yeah.
can't buckle your seatbelt. I can't start the car. I can't drive. But if I say, hey, Daniel, come over to my place and a tree fell across your road, you'd be like, no, Ferg, I can't. No, you would find another
Find
way,
another
man.
way.
So I do have to ask you something are you more harmony or balance? Because balance to me is zero. There's nothing there. Where harmony, I love jazz. right?
Mhm.
I mean, jazz is my jam. I love it, and I
Yeah.
can sit and listen to it for hours,
Me too.
whatever. And so, if you have like God or you're spiritual, it would be the drums. Personal growth would be the piano. Family would be the horns. On to community work, money. All of them are different instruments. If one of them is out of tune, it
Mhm.
sounds like junk, right?
Mhm.
And I'm not saying you have to be Beethoven, Eddie Van Halen, Jimi Hendrix, or any of those people, but if we can just get it on. And what I'm hearing is that there might be a beast in there that we can get into harmony, right? Because balance to me is like 10 pounds, 10 pounds, even Steven, there's really no growth out of it. Where
Mhm.
harmony, there's growth. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, it's a difference between it's context and
Okay.
content. So
Okay.
harmony is good in the context of all things working together, and in the and in the context of each player playing their part. Harmony happens on the basketball court, on football fields. It even happens on the tennis court because
Yes.
being able to be one with the racket, swinging the ball, hit it in the sweet spot to get the right rotation to be able to land it on the court of the opponent is strategic harmonizing of that. Now, the other side of harmony, we talk about balance. Balance can be good if what you're balancing, and balance should be visited. Balance is not something that one should stay in.
Right.
Is
Right.
why I say it, because you will burn out trying to balance.
Yep.
Because balance is not something that's not less of energy. There's a lot of energy that goes into balance. You ever watch a ballerina? Like my wife's oldest
Dude,
daughter.
I love watching that
she
stuff,
was
dude.
she was she
Yeah.
was yeah she was in Claire and all this other things for Nutcracker, and she danced all her life as a child. And I love watching ballerinas go on point,
Hmm.
because a lot of times we see it as stillness, but it's not.
Right.
You look at their feet and their
Uh,
ankles and they're trembling.
yes.
So
Yes.
balance
Yes. Wow.
requires so much effort. There's no
You can't
flow.
stay there.
You can't stay because there's no flow. There's a block in the flow
Right.
when you're
Yeah.
balancing, right?
So good.
When you're
Yeah.
harmonizing, you can flow because you don't always have to stay on that particular note. You can choose another note within the
Yep.
context of the music and still be in resonance with everyone else. And I say it like this, and I teach this in the course, but in the program, that we move through these layers of resonance. We go from dissonance to resonance to consonance. Sonnets is just sound or frequency. So
Sure.
dissonance is when we get introduced to something that's uncertain. There's your windshield in front, or there's your windshield. There's a bunch of stuff happening right now, and I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing, but I'm white knuckling it, right?
Right.
But that's dissonance. Then you go into resonance. Well, there are traffic signs here. So if I just obey these traffic signs and I stay within these lanes,
Right.
I can drive alongside of everybody else. Yeah, okay. I can do that.
Right.
And everybody on the traffic line on the highway, they're all in resonance with one another. They're all
Right.
in harmony because that's what
Right.
resonance is. It's saying the same thing. That's what resonance is. It's to say the sound again,
Wow.
right? So consonance is when you add your own sound to it. Con means with the frequency. That means you're
Absolutely.
moving parallel to it. That means you've created such a beautiful path that this frequency is as beautiful as yours. Harmony is what that is. Harmony always includes the movement of flowing from dissonance to consonance. Balance does not include the growth
Thank you.
process.
Right.
It's just simply burnout. So
Right.
all it's like the sun, it's just hot. It's all just one thing. When you have life and you have flow, in order to have flow, you've got to have harmony. You've got to have certain things that are completely different from you, but they all speak to the one thing.
Speak to the
I
thing.
often say it
Yeah.
like this: God has to be all, or whatever is not God doesn't exist. And if everybody gets that, God has to be all. Everything has to be divine. Everything is sacred in its own right because there's blood spilt and ma'im given to the life
Sure.
of all these things. And by ma'im, I mean the ancient word for water, but it's actually the ancient word for the flow of fluid. So that
Right.
can be blood, saliva, seminal fluid. It doesn't matter. Water, all of it is a part of that ma'im. Whatever that is, we exist in it. It's a part of our world.
Right.
Whatever's in that, it's giving us life. We have to include it all. God has to be all of it, and
Right.
we have to be one with it all. So our ability to be harmonious with creation is our ask to participate in what the world has to offer.
Love it.
Like we get to discover way more of us when we're participating in the world from a curious standpoint,
Yep.
with saying, "Hey, I want to bring my sound here too.
Right.
I don't want to just say what you're saying. I don't want to just sound like Scotty and he's in his coaching. I want to sound just like Nathaniel and say the same thing Scotty is saying.
Right. Yeah, and it's such, and you have to have harmonic. You could never do that through balance.
You
You
couldn't
know,
do that through balance.
it'd be impossible. Right.
You
Exactly.
couldn't.
Exactly. So this there's a value-based kind of service that you're offering right now, because I do want to get into what you're offering. You dived into it a little bit, but it's
Yeah, yeah,
12 weeks. Tell us a little bit about what the what you have going on there,
yeah.
Nathaniel.
So I created a formula. I call it the power of creation. It's called the creation formula, and it's called CIA. Creation, intention, action.
Right.
Right. So it's just a beautiful take on words, but I call it intention equals creation times action to the fourth power. And the four degrees of action are alignment, attunement, agreement, and allowance or surrender.
Got it.
And I walk people through the construct of how they're aligning, attuning, agreeing with the world, what they're saying yes to, what they're saying no to, and how to really bring all that stuff back into balance and connect it into the thing that makes them come alive, not the people pleasing thing. So we definitely, with this particular outline, this particular program, it definitely eradicates people pleasing, because you have to consider, with the exercises that are involved, you have to consider how the framework is set up to always be setting your intention, setting your practice, always be considering yourself. What are your self assessments? And I take some of my IT security, cybersecurity, and
Yeah.
GR analyst tools in, because the language helps people, especially with the world getting so technical, being able to communicate personal development concepts and principles using technology and technical terms has been great. So I teach people literally how to do a self-assessment on themselves, and I give them a framework on how to do it so they get the same results every time. It's
Okay.
it's beautiful. You'll always get, and the result I'm talking about is the truth.
Yes.
You'll
I was
always
just going
get
to
the
ask that.
truth.
What if
Yeah.
it's the same result every time?
It's,
What
yeah,
differentiates us? So, what do you see in
because
most people that are come to you? Their blind spots are then
I,
saying
yeah, usually in the belief that the story they're telling themselves is limited. A lot of time, the story isn't limited; it's just not theirs.
it's not theirs, dude. Trying to live somebody else's through all the influences
It's
that
not
they're
even it's not
picking
even
up.
that it's your
Right.
limiting belief because you're telling
Yeah.
somebody else's story. So it's like, get out of the whole limiting belief thing, because if you label it as your limit, then you'll only live that as your limit. You'll put
Right.
that belief in your body, and that'll become a part of your environment.
Yeah.
Well, if you look at it and like, well, is that mine? Is that really what I believe? Here's the one key: is it making your body feel bad? Like, if your nervous system is triggered to feel bad about a belief system that you're trying to uphold that isn't productive for you, then why not let it go?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
let's form another belief system that supersedes this one, so that this belief system can sit on top of it in another layer. Let's raise your frequency by
Right.
raising the layer of perspective you have,
Yes.
and seeing the world differently, because when you choose to see the world differently, the world you view chooses to change, right? Because all
Gotcha.
change is intrinsic. It all happens in you. And for anything to change, you have to mean to. I always say that. If everything is going to change, everything changes when you mean to. So being
Yes.
able to take that belief system in the body and create that environment. Like,
Yes.
oh, don't hold on to things,
We're
because,
creators, man. People move so far away from that.
oh my
You know,
gosh, no, is it not written in your law
yeah,
that we
yes,
are gods?
yes. And
That's a real statement.
we
It's
are
not
the
a
only living organism on Earth that will not live to its ultimate potential. Because people they'll be like, you'll see a fat dog, right?
Mhm.
And they'll be like, well, this dog's fat. I'm like, no, the owner's probably fat. And I'm not saying they're disrespectful, but they're like, dude, that's probably what it is, because the dog's going to follow what
Right.
its owner does. But it's we're all programmed for greatness. We just have to unleash it. And you said
That's right.
something earlier about it, or even a tree, right? A tree can only grow so high. No, the root system can only go so low,
Deep.
and it's
That's
still
right.
going to grow. If they found another way to expand the roots, that tree's going higher. I mean, everything is there. But you mentioned earlier about a lot of people out there, whether they're coaches, consultants, or whatnot, they're overcomplicating service. Kind of, what did you mean by that?
They're heavy on the marketing and low on the impact. in
Thank
that
you.
people are unwilling to just be vulnerable. And I had that same issue where I wanted to seem like I had it all together because I
Hmm.
thought that coaching meant that I
Me
had to
too.
have all
Yep.
my stuff together in order
Yeah.
for me to help you, but that's not the way it works. I
Right.
help you as I'm helping me.
Right.
So that we're leading, so that we're close knit. It actually, what happens is it actually brings the relationship with one another closer because it makes it more communal, right?
Yes.
Because now that I'm helping myself and I'm
Hmm.
helping you help yourself, then
Hmm.
I grow with you. We grow
Yes.
together. That's harmony. That's consonance.
Thank
That's
you.
resonance. We are all moving with the same sound, same
Right.
frequency, same understanding. So that's ideally that's
No, I
the
love that. That dumbed it down for lack of a better term because you go deep. That kind of dumbed it down for us that are out there listening and be like, yeah, because there's a harmonic hustle, which is
Mhm.
by the way, is the name of the book that drops in 2 months. Is
Mm,
harmonic hustle that I have coming out my pitch. But
love it.
so I'd be it would be terrible if I didn't take it through kind of our leveling up lightning round as we kind of move towards the end of our chat here, Natty. We did it before, and
Mhm.
I'm not saying you have to remember what you said before, but I'm going to
I
take you through some of the same questions,
do
but
it.
we all evolve. Time to Shine Today podcast Varsity Squad. We are back, and Nathaniel, we did this before, and we just said right before we went to break that see where we evolve and what's changed, and we'll listen to the last time and whatnot. But again, the rules are you got 5 seconds to answer, no explanations, and I
Yeah.
promise every answer will be every question will be able to be answered in
I'm,
five
I'm, I'm,
seconds.
I'm an open book. I don't
All
have nothing.
right, here we go, Natty. All right, what is the best leveling up advice Nathaniel's ever received?
Don't overthink it.
Love it. Share one of your personal habits that contributes to your success.
Self care.
I was going to say not overthinking. Yeah, that's beautiful. So, what book have you kind of really picked up? And if you saw me and I was kind of in my doldrums, like Fergie, I think you need to read this. What book have you really kind of dug into lately?
You know what? I'm going to say Transurfing Reality by Vadim Zeland.
Donnie, put that in the show notes, man. Thanks. I want to check it out myself.
It's like an 800 and something page book,
Fine.
but it's the best breakdown of how the universe balances itself through ebbs and flows,
Yeah,
how life actually works with
love
being
it.
able to set intention. It's beautiful. It's
Love it.
beautiful.
Love it. Most commonly used emoji, if any, when you text.
Fist bump.
Love it.
It looks just like this
I
too.
know it does. There we go. And how about any? I know that you love being in the present right now, but if you could be any age for the rest of your life, continue to garner wisdom and be able to utilize the wisdom you have, age physically, what would you want to stay?
Oh, my age right now, I'll be 44 in July. So
Okay.
my age right now, 44 is a good is a
It
beautiful age.
was. It was good. I'll be 53 next week or 2 weeks, and like the early 40s was excellent. It's a little more hacks I got to do
Yeah,
every
yeah,
day to make
yeah,
sure
yeah,
I stay on point.
yeah, yeah.
So, any nicknames growing up?
Little Nate.
Little
I
Nate,
was
love it.
a skinny little kid, I'm named after my father, so they call me
Love it.
still
Chess
today.
checkers or Monopoly?
Monopoly.
Okay, me too. Headline for your life.
Love the darkness.
What the superstitions you
I
kind
don't
of ever bought into through life? I haven't really either.
nope,
So
ever. I'm too curious for superstitions.
me too. I love it. Go to ice cream flavor.
Oh, vanilla.
Love it. Actually, me too, man. It's like
Yeah.
because if I'm feeling something else, I can throw it on there.
You can throw
You
it.
know,
It's just a good
right?
base. You can throw
Right.
strawberries, blueberries. All works.
If you had a time machine that could take you somewhere for 48 hours, but you get to come back to 2025, but just to visit, would you go 20 years in the future or any time in the past? But you can come back in 48 hours.
I'd go 20 years in the future.
Okay, very cool. Love
Yeah.
it.
I would not change anything about the past.
Me neither, brother.
I could have
Although I'd
hope.
like to go back to a kegger we had in
I know
1989 that
that's
was just
right.
a blowout.
Yeah.
So you have there's a sandwich called the Little Nate. Build that sandwich for me. What are we eating?
Almond butter,
Okay,
strawberry preserves, kosher salt, and cinnamon.
like it. Love it. It's probably all from your farm too. Love it. Favorite charity and or organization you like to give your time and or money to?
Well, we give our money in a pool. We have like a charitable donation
Nice.
to a Christian fund that sort of allocates those funds. So we just kind of give to that.
Excellent.
My wife's parents, my in-laws set that up for us. So we
Nice.
give to that every year. It's like,
Where
we
do
get
you
it.
attend there?
I'm sorry.
What church do you attend there?
I don't go to church.
Oh,
I
okay. I just heard that.
we have
Okay.
spiritual community
Yeah,
meetings
that's cool.
at
Yeah.
home. We have like a house thing, but
Nice.
yeah,
Awesome.
no thing. We do music. We kind of get together and talk
Nice.
about,
Fellowship,
life,
man.
fellowship, and just share
Yeah.
food and ideas. And it's
That's
really
amazing.
like the old church was in the house churches with where the
Yeah.
Bereans came
Yeah.
together and really studied about life and understood, and then they went out and practiced these things and
And they
shared,
evolved and
and they
had
evolved. Yeah,
you have
yeah.
wells that gave us water through those meetings,
That's
structures like my
actual
brainstorming,
framework,
bro.
right?
Instead of saying,
Beautiful
this is
stuff.
what you need to do, go do it this way. No, dude, that's how, like we
That's how you
said,
were raised, and
harmony and go move forward.
it gives more fear. It just gives more
Yes.
things to be afraid of. And I don't understand the structure that's here with this spiritual church thing, because it's so condescending to the human soul. It doesn't bring the soul out. It
Right.
confines it into this small sinful self space, right?
Yes.
Gives these little things. Like my son went to this Christian school early on in about third grade or something like that, and I didn't like the outcome that happened with him,
Mm,
because he developed a victim mentality from sin consciousness. He didn't have it before. I
right.
never taught him about sin. I never taught
And
him
I
the
know you know this, but what is sin to you?
It just means it's an archery term. It literally means to pull
Missing
your
the
bow
mark.
back, and you just was off by a little bit, so you missed the mark. You
Yeah.
get to go and get the bow again and shoot the arrow
Exactly.
again. It's not that deep.
Yeah.
Stop with the doom and gloom.
Thank
Hell,
you.
I mean, let me go ahead and just
Yeah.
disseminate everybody's myths here. Hell
Yes.
put in the Bible by the Catholic Church. The Catholic bishops came out and said and admitted that they invented that it was an invention of the Roman Catholic system to bring in membership. They wanted
Mhm.
a Catholic religion. The word
Yes.
Catholic means universal. They wanted everybody all under one thing. So in order
Yes.
to do that, you create a fear and then
Yep.
you give them a solution.
Right.
Stop with the fear-based
Yep.
nonsense. There's nothing wrong with you. You're absolutely perfect just the way you are. Your
Mm,
darknesses are just as light as your lights. They're
right.
all one thing. Investigate them, embrace yourself, look yourself in the mirror, and tell yourself how great you are and how valuable you are and how much of a service you are to humanity, and go be the damn thing.
I love it. I love it. And again, "sine" is the Greek root word, right, for missing the
Yeah,
mark.
it
So
literally
legit, like seriously. So how can we find you, my friend?
LinkedIn. I am on
Love it.
LinkedIn, Nathaniel J. Brown Consulting on LinkedIn.
I love
It,
that.
you
And I love
can't
it.
miss me. I do a lot of talk about cybersecurity, but I implement a lot of personal development and wellness tips in it,
Right.
because it's all one thing for me, and that's who I am.
Right.
I thought I wanted to just be completely technical on my posts, but like,
Hmm.
that's not me. I'm not
Ah,
completely technical.
go
I'm a
deep,
logical.
baby.
I'm me. I'm gonna
Good.
be that, and I'm not here to please anybody with my content. I
Right.
put it out there so that in moments when I need the reminder, it shows up in my
But you're
feed.
not out there hurting people either. You know what
Absolutely.
I'm saying? It's like people are like, well, if he doesn't care what we say, but nothing. I've vetted you. I'm saying there's nothing out there.
No,
You know that
I don't do internet bullying and any of that stuff.
exactly.
If we have an art with one another,
Let's
just
wrap.
email me. Like let's talk. Like
Yeah.
Zoom is open. Like I don't close this down. Like if you want to talk, just hit me up.
Yeah.
I'm on. I respond to everybody that has ever chatted with me on LinkedIn
Love
on my
it.
DM.
I
Everybody.
love it. I
Nobody
love it.
gets ignored. I don't run away from hard conversations. I embrace them, because that's how
Yes.
we grow. And as a matter of fact, that's one of the taglines for Growing Together, our coaching company, is that we have the hard conversations.
Right.
We have to. We have to.
The hard conversations are needed. So, Natty, as we wind it down, now leave us with one last knowledge nugget we can kind of take with us, internalize, and take action on.
Oh man, separation is one thing and another. Segmentation is a thing from another. We are a segment of the creator.
Whew.
We are not separate ever from creator, because to be separate from is to imply that something else does not exist. That would make God partial.
Love
God
it.
has to be whole, so you are whole. You are a segment, a representative of the source of creation.
Love that.
Embody it, embrace it, be it, live it.
And that's amazing. And Scott, I have again pages of notes talking to my good friend Nathaniel, who's life be lifing, right? He's really good, kind of his good at overthinking, like a lot of us are, but he was humble enough to kind of put that out there. But he also is someone that values things that other people might throw away or be afraid of. He wants you to look at animals. Animals don't have that disposition that we put on ourselves. All of us have that beast inside. He's encouraged us, do not remove it. There might be value in something that you're going to remove, right? And that we need that disposition to know how to respond to risks,
Mhm.
to keep a harmonious life. And he wants you to befriend that beast within you. Get in there and kind of, if you're an Avengers fan like me, remember how the Hulk kind of Banner and the Hulk kind of came together and started really coexisting and bouncing the good and the other good from again, the dark is just as light as the light. This is what my good friend Nathaniel said here. So if there's something that needs to be recalibrated in your heart space, please let me introduce you to Nathaniel to his 12-week program. You will not ever be disappointed in it because he's going to make you stay present. He's going to make you really get to know yourself from an angle that you haven't before. And if you're not going out and doing what you need to do in life to be harmonious, you're sinning. And again, not a religious connotation. Sinning means missing the mark, right? So, and again, let me put you in touch with his 12 weeks master manifestation through the Growing Together team of him and his awesome wife. And again, separation is one thing, and another segmentation is a thing from another. We are a segment from our creator. I probably just butchered that. That's okay. Go
You
back and
got
listen to what
you got
Nathaniel said. Nathaniel, thank you so much for coming on, man. You level up your health, you level up your wealth. You're still handsome devil. You got another letter for the varsity squad here. Thank you so much for coming on, brother. I really love your guts.
Man, I appreciate being here, and I can't wait till next time because the book will be out next time we'll
Yeah.
talk.
Can't wait, brother. We'll
Yep.
chat soon.
Yes, sir.
Hey, thanks so much for listening to this episode of Time to Shine Today, proudly brought to you by Inlet Properties and Investments. If you are a business owner or professional who would like to be interviewed on the Time to Shine Today podcast, please visit timetoshinetoday.com/guest. If you like this episode, please subscribe on Apple Podcasts, YouTube Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you get your podcasts. There's a link in the show notes to our website. Also, there you will see our recommended resources. We hope you will help support our show by supporting them. If you like what you have been listening to, it'd be great if you could give us a 5-star rating and tell your friends how to subscribe while you're at it. I'm your host, Scott Ferguson, and until next time, let's level up. It's your time to shine.